And now I have eternal life at the small cost of having a festering colony of bacteria that causes my body to explode into organs every 2-3 hours. You know, it's like, it's all about balance.
Why is there just a picture of Blue Beetle and Booster Gold?
Oh, I just had that up there. I was going to subscribe Kelly to it. It's just more of a pain to subscribe people to stuff now that DC and Diamond are being all Sundari with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, that's my dream team.
I just don't know why at this point they don't make them gay for each other. Just get them married. They'll be like the most popular progressive DC
because
couple.
Booster isn't, right? I'm pretty sure he's not. I think Ted. If he's not, he could be convinced.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he is.
Besides, Boosters from the future, they don't have sexuality there.
Oh. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we evolved.
I don't know. The last big Booster Gold thing where he was relevant was that Batman series where he went back in time and saved Bruce's parents from getting murdered. But in doing so, he, like, destroyed all of Bruce Wayne's future.
Rip.
Yeah. God, that Booster Gold. So what? Booster Gold...
Professional ruiner.
Yeah, he can fly because of the Legionnaires ring.
I don't remember all those abilities, yeah.
He can shoot energy. Is he, like, super strong or something? Or is he just a guy?
The suit makes him stronger.
Does it? I thought
as far as I know,
ring only...
he doesn't really do a lot of punching.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know.
He has blasts of some kind,
I think his bracelets shoot something.
Okay, alright.
Honestly, I'm just here for the funny lines.
Booster Gold doesn't have innate powers, right? He stole his powers from a museum. And that's still the current canon?
His superpower is that he was once pretty good at football.
Just like half of all superheroes out there. It's like,
well, no, like that's
this guy could really catch a touchdown.
I guess that was also Cyborg, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, he was originally, his nickname, because he was so fast, was Booster. So when he was asked, like, oh, what's your name, Mr. Superhero? He, like, defaulted. He was going to be like, he wanted to call himself Gold Star. So he's like, oh, Gold, so like, Booster Gold? Weird name, but okay.
Yeah.
He's like, no, Gold Star. Oh. I blew it.
Is Ted Kord your favorite Blue Beetle?
I think it is.
Yeah? You don't like the old mysterious guy in a blue trench coat?
He wasn't in a blue trench coat originally. The original Blue Beetle
he was
also in a bodysuit.
Yeah, he was. Okay, yeah.
But I'm not familiar with that one. And the new one, although I've seen it in his animated adaptations and stuff, for me, Blue Beetle will always be that one guy who was like Diet Batman on the Justice League during the death of Superman. That's where I first saw him in Booster Gold.
I kind of just liked Jaime Reyes, the third Blue Beetle, because back when he first started coming out, he was one of the early people of color that actually had like a pretty significant position in the Justice League or Justice Team hierarchy. It was good to see him and stuff, you know.
Especially since his powers are like actually pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, super overpowered. And even recently, the Batman Who Laughs took over his Scarab. And apparently, like, even as a human, he was limiting himself using Scarab powers, the biggest hurdle being his human physiology.
The classic weighted Scarabs training technique.
Yeah.
I think we've all done that.
You said Street Fighter's turning into Mortal Kombat? What do you mean?
It's the Rose came back, and she's like a telepath tarot card reader character, and her ending implies that, like, the bad guy of this game might come back in the next, and that she might have to, like, go back to zero. Which is what Street Fighter Alpha, like the prequel series, was called in Japan. So it's like, oh, maybe we are like literally going to do like a time loop, which Mortal Kombat has done in 2 of their games now.
Okay.
This is really out of character for Street Fighter, and I don't expect it to really happen.
Wait, wasn't Rose the lady with the red hair in the
That's Sea Viper. Rose has the big purple hair with a huge scarf. She's a reference to a JoJo character.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, Rose came back, people are really excited, character seems cool, but for my money, it's all about shriveled little yellow chicken man. That's my guy.
Oro?
Oro. His name literally just means gold, right?
He kind of looks like Dalsam.
A little Dhalsim-esque.
Yeah.
He's much older than Dhalsim. He considers Dhalsim a young guy.
Oh,
Dhalsim's in his 60s. Oro is, I think, 130.
Can he also stretch his arms?
No, he doesn't bother. In fact, he ties one of his arms behind his back so he doesn't inadvertently kill his opponents. He's that powerful.
So is there a way for him to, like, unleash that?
Yes.
Oh, that's a special...
In SF3, in Street Fighter 3, when he was first a character, he always fought with one arm.
Right.
All of his stuff was done with one hand. Unless he did... All of his supers had, like, a super, where if you spent everything you had on it, right now, he would take out the other arm and do the same thing.
Oh.
So instead of throwing like a big bouncing fireball, he'd throw like a sun-sized projectile that filled the entire screen, or instead of just grabbing you with one hand, he'd like throw you into the stratosphere and headbutt you to the ground. Oro's awesome.
That's pretty fun.
So in this game, because modeling sprite flipping, like he would change his arms obviously, because sprites you just mirror them. He can't do that, so instead he carries a turtle. He's like a hermit, so he loves having like animals around. So he's just carrying his little turtle. You can see in his hand there. He's just chilling with his turtle. Oro's sick.
Yeah.
Don't diss the.
And so this is for Street Fighter what? 5?
Yeah.
Is that the same one with the Power Rangers that I saw?
No, that's Battle for the Grid. That's a Power Rangers fighting game where Street Fighter characters just happen to guest star.
What?
Yeah. The game is actually not that bad.
Have you played it?
Yeah, I played a little bit of it.
Oh, nice.
It does have like a competitive scene and stuff. The game is for like I come from like a Marvel vs. Capcom background, and Battle for the Grid feels super floaty and weird.
So Street Fighter 5, like, are they just bringing all the characters back, or like?
Not really. Like, there's some characters who are like this game had a lot of people who were like are characters where people were like, man, I really want to see Alex. He's the main character of Street Fighter 3, so he came back as the first DLC character.
Okay.
But lots of characters that people really want, like Dudley and Makoto, who were in the last game, they didn't come back this time, which is a shame, because they're both awesome. Dudley is like a boxer, but he's not like Balrog. Balrog's probably the boxer in Street Fighter that you're like familiar with.
Right,
like the Mike Tyson dude.
Yeah.
Who Mike Tyson only just found out about like last year.
Oh,
His name is literally Mike Bison in Japan. And they're like, we brought it to USA, they're like, oh, we probably can't do that. Someone's going to get upset. Tyson was like, I wouldn't, but my agents probably would have.
Yeah.
So Dudley is like a British boxer with a mustache and overalls.
Oh, and he's always drinking tea,
He drinks tea with the boxing gloves on?
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I like that guy. He looks really dapper.
Yeah, that thing is, he's just not out of you looking
I know
good.
him, and then there's this big, chubby, oiled-up guy.
That's Hakan. Hakan's a Turkish oil wrestler.
Oh, of course.
He's awesome, but he's also super weird, and he wasn't like a super good character. So while he's really well liked, he wasn't super popular, and that does impact who comes back. Like, Rose is really popular. But it also probably doesn't hurt that she has basically like an equivalent of like the Shoto fighting style, like Ryu and Ken. Just a variant of that style, with some more funny stuff you can do. It's also really good looking, which doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So what Street Fighter has the most playable characters in it? 4?
The most viable characters?
Playable.
Oh, like the most actual selectable characters?
Yeah.
4 by some distance.
Okay.
5's not far behind now, but it took a long time to get there. 4 had like 3 major updates with characters in them.
Oh, wow.
And it was like to the point where I'm generally against big rosters in fighting games, because in games where you have a lot of matchups and it's one-on-one, you will never learn all the matchups.
Right.
Like you will get like DJ or whatever is a terrible character in Street Fighter 4. But if you're relatively new to the game, or even semi-advanced, and you've never fought a DJ before, you are at square one. And it's like, this is one of 46 characters. Good luck knowing what to do.
Lately, I've been playing a lot of Apex Legends, and I appreciate that there's really only like 10 characters right now, so that I don't get confused by what everybody's abilities are. Like, you know, I tried playing Apex Legends when it first came out, and it was fun. It just got a little tedious, because this was before they introduced the seasons and the new maps and stuff, and I recently got back into it. But what really brought me back in wasn't the hype, it wasn't the memes or anything like that. It was that I got caught up watching the cinematic trailers that they churn out like clockwork for different characters, and some of them are brilliant. Like, there was this new character release recently called Horizon, the scientist that's the master of gravity.
Okay, that sounds sick.
And she's really cool. She's like, she also kind of reminds me of Pippi Longstocking. Just that kind of like fiery personality. At first I was like, I don't really care about her. I saw the trailer for her character, and you find out that she and a colleague left to go to the edge of a black hole to try and capture a small piece of matter that assembles itself around like the edges of black holes. A new element, and she believes that this element can be used to solve an intergalactic energy crisis, and that she can save the world for her child.
Okay.
And she manages to do all this until her partner betrays her and detaches her ship from hers and leaves her there at the black hole. And even though being like one of the foremost greatest scientists of her generation, she manages to like create a small wormhole to escape the black hole. But just the fact that she was around the edge of a black hole
for, say, a few hours.
It means that hundreds of years passed.
Yeah, by the time she gets back to Earth, 80 years have passed, and her child is gone. So the reason she's entering the Apex tournament isn't for fame or glory, it's so she can win enough money to build a time machine to try and get back to her son.
My God.
Although, speaking of great lore and how lore makes, like the lore of characters makes some games better, in my opinion, like knowing the stories of these characters, have you seen the new Dota Dragon's Blood anime?
No, I had a friend recommend it.
It's actually really good. It's done by Studio Mirror, who did Atla and Korra. So you can actually see a lot of the similar animation style there, and some of the voice actors are actually pretty.
Those are the ones from the actual game, right? Like axes and all that.
No. Well, this one. What I think is they're probably going to do a bunch of 1 or 2 season miniseries. That involves certain characters. So, for example, Dragon's Blood, it follows Davion the Dragon Knight, it follows Mirana, it follows Luna, and then Invoker is kind of part of it. But it really touches on just those few characters, and I think they're going to do that for 2 seasons. Maybe do another one in a different region of the world with another few characters, and then once they've done that a few times, I hope they'll actually do like a Defense of the Ancients movie, anime movie.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Like, just them going to war and stuff like that, but I really, really love the anime. I think they do a good job of showing off, like, their Dota abilities, but in anime context, so they actually do stuff. You know, like how Invoker has, like, just like a little shield that goes, like, bing, and, like, his health goes up a little bit, but then you have in the anime, he, like, grabs a leaf, and then he just starts absorbing, and he absorbs all the green in, like, a 10-mile radius of him to rejuvenate himself. I'm like, that looks so much better.
That looks super cool.
Yeah, that looks super dope. I wasn't sure of the series until the first episode, like 5 minutes in. There's just a part that killed me where Davion just slayed a dragon and he's celebrating in a bar, and Mirana happens to be there. Mirana asks for, like, some fancy, like, wine. And she's like, I'm not paying for this. And Davion's like, you know what? Don't worry, the ladies' drinks are on me. He's like, oh, in that case, it's free for you, Davion. She's like, hold on. What, for me it's $2, but for this guy it's free? He's like,
well, yeah, he's Davion, the fucking dragon knight what killed a fucking dragon. This fucking dragon.
And it zooms up, there's just like a literal dragon's head right next to the bar. Loved it. It was great.
Davion, very underplayed character. I don't know if he gets a lot of play now. I remember he was rather underplayed back when I played the game.
I was a Dragon Knight main starting out, but then
Cool
I went to Ricky. Dragon Knight's just a cool character, you know? I really enjoyed it. The animation, like the fight scenes. They even made the Invoker kind of compassionate, you know? Like, you could clearly tell that he's...
Because in the games these days, he's kind of a dick.
You were a Lich King fan, right?
Lich.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was a Lich.
Yeah, you were a Lich fan.
I started with Lich, along with a couple of other characters. Faceless Void was like my...
Oh, Faceless Void was the bomb, and then you ulted, and the little time bubble, and you just whack him. Yeah.
Of course, you'd always misfire on the stupid ultimate and, like, hit your allies and do nothing or whatever.
Oh, gosh.
I think I had terrible luck with... he was very RNG heavy as a character, and I have just historically very bad luck with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, my friends and I looked at the statistics after one game I played as him, and literally 0 crits.
Jeez.
Not a 1. We were like, wow, is that even statistically possible? Because Dota's not really random, right?
Yeah.
Like, eventually the randomness stacks in your favor over a very long sample size to the point where it's like you're almost guaranteed at least 1 crit.
Yeah.
Because true randomness, you would get like 17 crits in a row sometimes.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Spirit Breaker, if you remember him.
SB? Oh, I hated thing is that, like, I used to lane with people a lot. Like, I played Clockwork quite a bit.
Man, I totally forgot about Clockwork. Jeez.
What a good character, though, right? With Lich, I would solo lane. Like, I'd suicide a lot. And Spirit Breaker, when I was in solo lane, was usually free. Because because I had solo lane, so I had an ultimate very early against 2 laners.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, you're never out of mana or health as Lich. So, of course you hear SB coming. Everyone gets to hear him coming. I'm like, well, obviously, since I'm past tower and I'm alone, he's going to come for me.
Yeah.
So I just back up the littlest bit. And the moment he appears, ultimate Spirit Breaker, because he's inevitably coming right as my ally, or his ally tries to coordinate on me.
Right.
And it just goes ping, 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 and I get 2 kills.
Nice.
And it happened every time.
Yeah.
And SB, don't don't do Lich. At least don't do that. Or it's in River or whatever, and it's like, oh, here he comes.
Yeah.
Lich Ultimate's like one of my favorite abilities ever. And the fact Brand had it in League was a contributing factor to why I mained Brand for a little while.
Ah, I see.
Most terrifying world.
Man, have you checked out Jana and the Unpossible Monsters?
No.
It's like a kid's comic, done by Oni Press by Chris Samney and Laura Samney. And Chris Samney's art is just, Daredevil, right? Wade and Samney Daredevil is amazing. But now that they're doing their own stuff, most of this comic is silent.
That's so cool.
Like, it's just... Samney does such an amazing job of taking you through a person's story arc without ever actually having to say much.
I love that. There's been a few sole issues of Usagi Yojimbo that have no dialogue. They're rare, but I love the style. Like, it kind of reminds me of obviously the issues that I'm talking about predated it. The Samurai Jack had a few episodes where there were 2 lines of dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, it was so confident in itself that I was like, I'm just gonna do an episode without dialogue.
Yeah, I don't need it. Sword.
Yeah, or there was one where it was it was him versus a ninja, and he wears a white outfit, and it was a black one, and they're jumping through this lit building, crossing into the opposite colors. I remember being up at 2:30 or 3:30 a.m.
I didn't think that was possible, right?
Yeah, so the gibberish Dan and I have been speaking at each other will make sense to you if you get into Magic right as the 40k set happens.
Yeah, I might actually get it. Are they gonna have like a crossover set or something?
That's the plan. It's gonna be
really
Magic mechanics with Warhammer 40k contents.
I guess I'm playing Magic now.
It's been very divisive. Magic players they like playing Magic for Magic, and it's had crossovers in the past. Like surely in our case, you've seen the Three Kingdoms stuff.
And the My Little Pony stuff, and the Transformers stuff.
Those are silver bordered joke cards that come from convention.
Okay.
So those are we're openly, hey, I'm not tournament legal.
Oh, okay.
So it being a mechanically unique card is not a big deal.
Okay.
But when it's like, hey, here's Walking Dead cards, not only are we mechanically unique, you have to accept us as canon, at least in the sense that if we go to a legacy tournament, you have to play against me. But it was only available during that one weekend. So if one of them had ended up being super flagrantly overpowered, it would have only been available for a day.
Ah.
So if you didn't get it, tough luck. It's super predatory.
Right, I see.
So far they have not repeated that mistake, so that's why people are really uncertain about the Lord of the Rings and Warhammer 40,000 ones.
Wait, they're doing a Lord of the Rings
Yep,
Magic?
both of those things are happening.
Same set or different sets?
Different ones. There's a Lord of the... We don't really know they're not going to be regular releases, like Kaltime or a core set or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're not certain supplementally how they're actually supposed to work.
Okay.
So it's kind of up in the air right now.
Okay, if we do order some, would you mind setting one space, Warhammer one, Space Marine preferably, or Orcs? Me and my girlfriend can finally get a Lord of the Rings deck and Warhammer 40k deck and finally answer our relationship-long question, who would win in a fight, Warhammer 40k or Lord of the Rings?
The entire franchise is fighting each other?
Yeah. Obviously, Warhammer 40k.
I don't feel like that's even fair. 40k is one of the most high-powered settings ever.
Just not even just one regiment of the Imperium of Man would destroy everybody in Lord of the Rings. With their friggin' wizards, unless, like Gandalf and Saruman all turn to chaos. Summon a bunch of chaos demons.
Now we're getting into the fanfic territory.
Nah, it's highly logical if you think about it.
Yeah, I can huff paint before writing fanfiction too.
Yeah. I like red.
To be fair, there are some red.
Yeah, the flavor for the paint item.
Oh, I see. I see.
Red's the best flavor.
For a second, I almost thought you were talking magic there.
There's gold. There's silver.
It's a slightly more transparent pigmentation of the red part of the spectrum. It's just got a certain je ne sais quoi.
But yeah, gold's the best paint to huff. It's just classy.
It's classy, is it?
Yeah, it's a classy paint to huff. And
it's
then you could go black
what's trashy when you're poor, but fancy when you're rich.
Yeah.
Huffing paint.
See, if I'm feeling really wild, maybe I'll do an orange, but I don't touch turquoise with a 10-foot pole.
I have a bad trip. It's no, you just haven't tried the right strain of turquoise, bro.
Who's your favorite 40k faction again?
That depends. I used to like Eldar quite a bit.
Okay.
When I was younger, my favorite was Chaos, because...
like Chaos Space Marines or
yes.
Chaos Demon? Okay.
Chaos Demons weren't even a thing at that point.
Oh, okay.
So Chaos Space Marines, I liked them because in a world where the Imperium of Man is clearly pretty evil, they're at least a little bit evil, the Chaos rebelling against that seemed unambiguously good to me. They just did it in this really strange, edgy way. And I was like, at the time, I just loved black. I still love black. I mean, I'm wearing it right now. So I was like, wow, there's just Space Marines that are just black. I'm like, that's the easiest thing ever to paint. Black and gold. And they're evil, like an edgy, but they're technically in the right. It's like, that's perfect. It's like the Vorthos thing, right? Where I'm like into the flavor of it, where I'm like, oh, I get to be technically correct.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to care about you being technically correct if, say, like, you're a worshiper of Nurgle and your whole body's just covered in exploding, oozing swords.
Except that I consented to it, and Daddy Nurgle gave me all these blessings and gifts.
Yeah.
And now I have eternal life at the small cost of having a festering colony of bacteria that causes my body to explode into organs every 2-3 hours. You know, it's like, it's all about balance.
Oh, okay, it's all about balance. What if you're, like, a Slanesh worshiper? It's like, yeah, every transformation is random, so, you know, we got Larry, who got turned into a 40-foot tall war god, and then we got Chuck, who just got turned into 6 boobs.
We asked the High Priest about it, and he just said, justice planned?
Yeah. It's just like a blob of 6 boobs, that's it.
It's like, I feel like Slanesh was involved with this one. It's like,
Yeah.
sorry, it's completely random.
Yeah, if I'm gonna worship any god, it'd probably be Khorne or Slanesh. Or, you know what? No, not Slanesh. Khorne or Tzeentch.
Zinch? Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Is it Tzeentch?
Zinch.
Yeah.
I've heard a million ways to pronounce it. Truly, as enigmatic as the god itself.
Yeah, see, he's the only one that seems more like chaotic good than any kind of evil.
Zinch is almost certainly the most chaotic and evil of them.
Yeah.
Like, he's just doing it for the evils with a Z. I think
He's doing it for science, actually.
The most good one, I think, is actually Nurgle. In the sense that all Nurgle wants to do is propagate by any means necessary. To him, like, the Nurgle's blessing is literally just him being like, thinking he's a good dad, but giving you a weird present. Khorne is like, I mean, blood for the blood god.
It's like a fraternity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most amoral, like off the grid, is Slanesh. Slanesh doesn't even care about being moral, immoral. It's just like Pleasure City. So it's like sometimes that'll end up being good. Sometimes that'll end up being super evil. And you're writing like some sort of weird Tolkien dragon.